everyone. I wanted to give a quick little apartment tour of my apartment over the holiday season because it's 12 days of NYC, and how would I not talk through my apartment? And I wanted to give some tips and tricks for how to make a house very cozy, and I'm hosting, so I thought I would share some little insights. So let's do a quick tour. So the way my apartment is set up is you walk right in and you are in the kitchen. Like in it. The sink is here, which is great. We have a dishwasher, which if you know anything about New York City, that is a luxury in itself. I'm so thankful for this. My first apartments did not have that. And then we have a smaller oven here, and then you can't quite see it, but there's a refrigerator right here and some shelving. Something I wanted to do was not close up the space. A lot of people, maybe their first instinct would be, oh, I need more pantry space. I'll get a cabinet that's all covered and I'll use that for like preparation and storage. No, no, no. What we need is to show off some trinkets. I'm a trinket girly. I'm a thrifting. I'm grabbing things. I'm very sentimental, so I keep all kinds of stuff. I love framing pictures and getting knickknacks. So here is where I display that, if you will. And then I actually had this from my previous apartment because there really is no place set up for microwaves in some of these older builds because they didn't have microwaves when this place was created. So this is where I put my microwave, which is down here. I will say I kind of do wish I got a shelving unit that did close all the way down because it is kind of crazy down there and everything's so dusty. I do need to wipe it off or wash it before I use it, and that's where I've been storing all my pans, and it's a little crazy down there. And then I also just use this as like my coffee bar station. So I got an espresso this year and I've been absolutely loving it. So addicted to them that I barely even go out for coffee. I usually will just be like, I'll just wait and go home and like get it then. I also just build on my trinkets through thrifting. So I got this pasta house, just it spoke to me. It seemed so cute. It holds my pasta, and I just grab things that I like, and then once you start to put them together, if you have a good sense of like who you are and like your personal style, it's gonna look great. I also kind of have like a little bit of a dollhouse theme, if you will, because I've actually been told that my place feels like a dollhouse, especially once I put the wallpaper up. And so I kind of played on like pinks, greens, blues, and like more pastel colors, and then kept on kind of this kitschy thing. But it's my personal style, so it's easy for me to find. I also wanted to display some of my nicer glasses because I don't have a ton of glass storage, so these shelves, these floating shelves, act as a purpose for that. And in my previous apartment, I put a bunch of picture frames here and it was like above my couch, so I repurposed them for the kitchen, knowing that I had a lot less preparation space in this apartment. And then I just decorate with like different levels. So you throw in a candle even if there's nothing in it. Like this candle, gone, but it's a pretty glass. It brings some texture, brings in some pink tones. I stacked up, you know, some faux plants to give like a cascading look here so that it comes down and just kind of flows. And then I, you know, initially didn't have this going, but I have a bunch of just postcards from literally the summer that I've just stuck behind here, and it's become kind of a collage area. And I'm just like really into displaying knickknacks, and I just find a place for everything. Like this was my grandmother's. I got it, and I think it just looks nice with the crystal glasses. It looks nice with the crystal cup. Like things just kind of mesh together, and everything was either like given to me, made for me, a gift, thrifted, you know, so cute. Speaking of plants, I like to put them like in a collage of things. So here it might be a little cluttered for some people, but personally I like it. I have like a cup of all my teaspoons. This usually is filled with Nespresso pods, but this little plant just brings like a little extra, because without it there wouldn't be much life here because I don't have like a window. So it's like, for me, a little important to have some greenery and like life into the apartment versus all glassware and very clean. Like I'm not a clean aesthetic girl. I'm very, you can say, knick-knacky. I also like to just create kind of functional displays. So I had nowhere to put this pie pan, but of course I adding a couple things like the olive oil glasses and like a vase into a little trio and using that as the tray. A functional pretty display versus like just setting it all up in a line and calling it a day. It gives it a little character and texture. I also have some cute little plates hanging and just things that I've collected over the years that do give it that touch of Mallory, that touch of who you are, and when you host, people will be like, oh my god, this is so you know? I really like the size of my trash can, which is like a random side note. Trash cans are so crazy. This one was like $50. I feel like you can buy them for like over $100 now, and that's absurd. So I will link things like this, my little rug. I think some of these displays are brand new, but if not, just message me and I can get you a link. Okay, so welcome to my bathroom. I can literally touch both sides of this thing, and that's how tiny it is. This is the smallest bathroom I've ever had in an apartment, but it's just me, so it's okay. I have it organized super well. I don't have a sink that has storage underneath it, but I do have this gorgeous shelving unit that I got, and what I like is that you can remove the bar at the bottom so that if depending on what toilet you have, like, it is adjustable. It was a more expensive version of these over the cabinet things and a little bit of a risk because if you had an actual sink in here, like with the bottom of it, I don't know that it would have fit. Luckily, in the last 3 apartments, it's been able to find a way to fit over the toilet, and I don't think I would be able to live without it. Like, it's a godsend. I do have it more of an open display, so with that, sometimes it gets extra chaotic in here. Not really much to say in here other than it is what it is. I like to add little trinkets that make things like very cozy. So I have a fun quote. I haven't updated this in years, but it's like just a little friendly reminder. Maybe your guests will read it and it'll trigger something in them. I think quotes are so inspiring and cheesy. I also have like a little mini frames instead of product up here just because I'm cutesy patootsy. I got this with my sister in Virginia, and then this is my sister and I at the Ritz, like being so bougie. And so it's like a bathroom theme, I think, because like we're in bathrobes, so I think it's just like cute, and yeah, it's everything anyone could need, so we make it cute. A little bit random, but I have a coaster in here because I'm always having a coffee or a glass of wine when I'm getting ready, so I have that there, and I think it just adds a little charm. Like, there's different ways to add charm. Like, what choices are you making to put your cotton swabs in? Is it just a plain glass plastic thing, or is it a cute random trinket that you utilize now as a cotton swab holder? You tell me. Yeah, this is a studio apartment. There's no separations. I've had friends say, like, you should get a canopy, you should this, but honestly, I don't mind how open it is. It just feels like one big bedroom, so I really don't care. The only thing I wish I had was more closet space. But I make the bed very cozy by layering on it and doing kind of a hotel vibe. This isn't like the most luxurious of all things. Bedding is expensive and also gets ruined a lot. I've invested in multiple pieces, and honestly, I don't even know why, because they just stain or don't wash properly. I can't even get started about my gauze bedspread that I spent like $300 on. So I have now like this Pottery Barn duvet cover. I have this really nice weighted blanket. I got this like years ago, but it still stays so well, and I feel like it's a very good pop of color. I spent so long trying to figure out what throw pillows to put here because I wanted to match back to my thrifted painting over here, and I ended up with these scallops, and I think it just really plays into the dollhouse theme. I think these are kind of dupes for another brand, and I initially wanted the other brand, but their pillows were like this big and it just looked unproportional to like where I live. I also just make my bed by having like a top sheet and another lighter blanket on top. I'm sure that's called something. Sorry, don't know, not Martha Stewart over here, but I do like it. I think it's a great thing for when guests are here as well. Another thing I do is I have 2 pillows that I lay flat in the back, and then I have these like bigger ones that I don't really use, but they're super big and fluffy, and they are king size, so they do take up the whole queen bed versus like looking too small. I also have this great headboard, and it's not fully attached to my bed. It just kind of stands up here because my bed is actually all metal and is lifted so that I'm able to fit so many clothes underneath. I actually really need to go through these things. I have no idea what the heck is under there. I took my Christmas tree out and I was like, what are these bags? Like, I think they're from previous closet clean out, so I have a lot to work on there. But just making the bed, if it's gonna be a focal room of yours, making sure it's always made, it has levels to it, it's clean, it's not like an eyesore. I like that it's neutral pretty much with just like little pops of blue, little moments of pink, so it's not like feeling so dark and big in my apartment or too patterned or too shiny. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of there. It blends in with the walls. Another thing I do, and this might be controversial because you kind of gotta go sideways, but I did used to have it kind of pushed up to the side when these coats weren't right here, and that just like didn't leave room for any side table or anything with the guest, nowhere to put their chargers. And so I did adjust it to have a very tiny side table that's the babyest little thing, and then it has like just a baby lamp, and you can fit a charger back here with an extension cord just for if I have a friend staying. And then unfortunately they do have to sleep next to my coats because I am just a girl at the end of the day, and let's be honest, people don't visit like they used to. The art of the side table, right? So when you live in New York City or a small apartment, you need to make sure your side table is functional and not just a piece of furniture that you stick your water on at night. And then I just make sure there's lots of elements that look like cute. Like if someone were to be walking by, their eye was caught over here, they'd be like, oh my god, that's so cute. You have layered items on your desk. It's not just like flat straight onto the tabletop. So I have like a very gorgeous thrifted vintage mirror here. It has like gold elements. So this has a little bit of a gold element here. The tray also has a little bit of a gold element here, and the coaster. So everything has like a little touch of gold. And then I felt like the twirl of the lamp brings into the sheets. So like they're right next to each other. Like I said, you want to build on pattern, plants, textures of metals, mirror, and just like buy pretty things and like tinker around, try it out. If it doesn't look good, or you felt like, oh, this looks a little off and out of place, you can move it around. Like it's all about collecting and tweaking, right? So it's so far away, but now we bring ourselves into the living room and guest room. So a lot of times when my friends or family visits, they do actually sleep on the couch because I make it into like a gorgeous little pallet and turn it into a bed, because the bottom of this actually pulls out, lifts up, and becomes like a full-sized full bed. And then I'm able to put like padding down, sheets, blankets, all the things, and I store that underneath it in here. I will say she's been through it. Like I eat on this couch. That's one thing I hate about a studio. I wish I had somewhere to eat. If I didn't have as many clothes, I'm sure I could fit something in the corner. But mostly I'll be here, or I'll be at my desk, or I'll be asleep, and those are the three spots of the house. So very much a wear and tear type of situation happening over here. But I did like that it's a neutral color. It's kind of a millennial gray. Sorry, I bought it in 2020, so it's gonna be gray. And I just have built on some great throw pillows. A lot of these are from H&M, that one's from Anthro, the lips are from Target back in the day. I didn't necessarily pick a color scheme, but it just so happened to work out that I like these colors, and it helps that I have multicolored posters up here. So actually my first apartment, it was a walk-up, and so a lot of people would just leave magazines, books, things in the entryway, and it would get cleaned out like maybe once a week. But I would find some of the best things there, including this magazine that included all of these gorgeous prints that are almost poster size. So I took it upon myself to frame those in these little plastic frames from Target. So they're not exactly chic and elevated in that way. I would love to move on from that in a future life, but for now I still think it's really cool, and I get asked all the time, like, where'd you get your prints? From a magazine at the stoop. So lighting is really important to make your house very homey and feel welcoming, because you don't want to have stark lights on, especially if you're having guests over at night for like a dinner party. I mean, I'm not having a dinner party here, but I have hosted some Valentine's Day parties and things, and the lighting is very crucial. So I have my tall lamp over here, which I got super cheap on Wayfair. This lamp that goes by my bed, obviously. And then I replaced, and by I mean my father, replaced this overhead light to be not so fluorescent and black. Like, it's really cute. I kind of want to do the same thing in the kitchen, but I'm also like, priorities. And then I also just have this gorgeous glass coffee table, and I went back and forth about what kind of coffee table I wanted, but I decided I wanted something that wasn't going to feel too bulky in the room and wasn't going to be an eyesore. So I went for glass, which is, you know, hard to keep clean, but I think worth it because I'm able to put, there's like a little shelf underneath and I'm able to put my trinkets. And I kind of just built a little display at the bottom, including those magazines that I'm talking about with the art. And between all the multicolor of the books and the art and the matchbooks and cute little things I like, it all really works together and screams me. Another thing I did for Christmas is I usually have either some kind of vase right here or pumpkin or something. I don't have a lot of space for tons of decorations all the time for the holidays, but I do my best to have like little trees, a little wreath here and there, and then I just put it all, pack it up and shove it in one of my closets. So I have that. Another thing is like little gifts I've been given. This match thing is literally a squirrel and so cute. And then I stack my fashion magazines here and have a little tray that holds this all together and creates a little bit of a display, a collage. So I have little like chunks of set things on a tray, on an apple pie tray, on a mirrored glass tray, and it kind of just accumulates your stuff and gives it a place to live. Now, for one of my favorite parts of the area is the centerpiece. The TV is a centerpiece for me. The TV is on 99% of the time. Like, if I'm awake, the TV's awake kind of vibe. It is what it is. I don't care. And I decided I wanted to build this out by adding some wallpaper to really give it that focal point look. And that was the start of Wallpaper Gate that led to wallpaper here. Oh, and I didn't even think I mentioned it in my kitchen, that I just built wallpaper so it didn't feel so flat in my apartment and gave texture without painting the walls. Allegedly, it's all renter safe. It's been up there for like 3 years now, so we'll see by the time I leave here if I have to freaking leave here. But for now, she's renter free in my head at least. And this is another great place for me to display my trinkets and my books and things. I don't have a bookshelf. I don't read a lot, but I do collect books somehow. I have stored down here a lot of my trinkets, so I like that it's a glass facing entertainment center, so you're able to see in there and see, you know, decks of cards, coasters, knickknacks from my grandmother, all the things I've collected, because you know I'm at Anthropologie, you know I'm on the Goodwill thrift stores, and I'm picking things up and I'm planting them in things like this and like my coffee table books. I also have maybe a little too much clutter on the top right now, but I like to have little like things in sets of 3 or 4 depending on the thing. Like if everything is round, we like to do 3 things. If everything is like this candle holder in the back, that's just really bringing the ambiance. It's not really like an item. So I have 1, 2, 3, 2 frames, a candle, 1, 2, 3. I have a nice seasonal candle and then a candle holder and a little tree, and it kind of collects with what's going on here. So when I'm sitting, I see my gorgeous tree, which I must talk about. I see that tree and that tree, and it's like a trio in itself, and it's not overwhelming and it's not in your face. It's like subtle winter, which I think is very classy and intentional without being cookie cutter. Do you know what I mean? So we love that. Let's talk about the Christmas tree because she's stunning. I was like, you know what? I need a Christmas tree. I'm sick of not having one. I was doing life with just little string lights and stuff, but eventually, I think maybe 2 years ago, I decided it's time to buy a tree. This was like $100 at Hobby Lobby, 50% off, I think over like Black Friday or something, or maybe even end of season. I feel like I got it like a week before I was leaving for Christmas, and it was so cheap. I even got these little ribbons, also like half off, and I got these super long ones that I still have ribbons, and I just made them myself, got the little ornament hooks and hooked them on, so I'd never have to tie them again. It's not like I physically tied them on here. I just kind of made my own ornaments out of a bow. And then these, for any New Yorkers who have to store things and who the heck knows when you're gonna have to move again, you're always on the go. I buy these plastic ornaments because they're not shatterable and I can shove them wherever I need to. And they come with so many bulbs and they're so big that they fill up this tiny little tree anyway, and they're probably like $35 from Target. So those have been keeping strong. I do want to kind of start building like a pretty collection at the same time. I have all my cutie trinkets at my house tree when I'm actually home for Christmas, so I don't know that I need to like figure out how to store those nicely, although I do have my London one on display from when we went over the Christmas season last year. I have this at the back that I turn on at night, and it just kind of brings the vibes, and I think it's fun, but not really necessary. It's been there for years and it hasn't gone out yet, so we love. I wanted to showcase this way, even though the lighting isn't that great, just to say like the immediate draw when you walk into my apartment is first the arch that takes you into the actual living space, and then the insane, gorgeous, freaking natural lighting you can get. So these windows are so good, and I was so immediately drawn to that between the walk-in closet, the arches, and this, and then the peak tile in the bathroom, which I don't even think I harped on. I was in love with this location. So what I've done to also just be like another focal point is clearly the window when you first walk in, but when you're actually enjoying the space, your focus is the TV. So when you come in and you look at this, I want it to be like, hello, welcome to my home. I have like warm vibes, so I like to have my frames displayed here. I have just all kinds of memories here. It's also like if someone's visiting for the first time, they'll be like, oh my god, you and your mom are so cute. When was this picture taken? It's like something to talk about, pictures. And imagine if it was just all blank. It would just be, oh, that's a cool, you know, window. Like, where's the personality? Where's the good vibe? So that makes it homey and maybe takes people back to like an older time. I feel like people used to walk in and in their entryway, it was just frame, 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 frame. And I always want one of those one day when I have an entryway and not a kitchen in my door. But this is my entryway of sorts, the radiator, and it hosts all like really good memories. We just ignore the air conditioner being right in the unit, and we build plants on top of it. I was a kind of a bad plant mom this summer, and I'd let things go, but then I would overwater them, and then I didn't know how to fix it because like I was on such a regimen, and then it was like a lot of travel. I don't know what happened exactly, but I only have 2 plants left, and I want to try to fix them and get them back into life because I loved it when my window was full of greenery. Also, so sorry about all the junk in the corner. I totally just didn't talk about it, but my closet clean out was recently, and my parents are coming, so they're gonna help me take some stuff over to the Goodwill, and my mom's gonna ship some stuff back with me, and we can sell. She helps me sell things on Poshmark. So if you're interested, check out my Poshmark from my closet clean out. We're still working on getting everything updated and uploaded. Life's crazy, but just act like that pile's not there because it won't be forever. I was going to clean this and make it look so perfect and gorgeous for my apartment tour, but I decided let's be realistic and show what it really is like living in New York City in a 400 square foot apartment. So this is where I host a lot of my work days, and what I liked about this particular desk is that it wasn't too chunky. You can hear my radiator kicking on. We're just gonna have to ignore the outside noise and just, you're really getting the big New York experience because between the radiator, construction, and neighbors, like it's never silent. Like it's never silent here. That's halfway why I like the TV on, because I can try to drain out the noise. But what I liked about this was how open it was at the bottom, and while I wanted storage, I didn't want anything too chunky. That was going to be a focal point. I just wanted to kind of blend into the wall, hence the white coloration as well. So the main focal point of this is clearly, I hope clear enough, the back of it. So all of the gorgeous pictures I've curated throughout the years. It started with this, and there was like a daisy frame here. Oh, it was like that, and maybe that. Like 3 little things right here. And I was like, you know what? I've been watching Homeworthy a lot. If you guys have never seen it, I'm basically trying to do my own Homeworthy right now. This is my home. They really inspired me to build on eclectic vibes in your house and just buy things you love. Like I framed this Carbone bag from Dallas, Texas because it's so New Yorky, and I had a frame that I thrifted. That was my grandmother's. That's from like a paint and sip with my friends. It probably should get replaced, but it's also like a memory. A couple of those up there were my mom's. No idea whose this is, but I loved the colors and I thrifted that. This is from my trip to Paris. A true artist painted that, so it's like I have this paint next to that paint, and it just is all a curation of like pretty colors, girly vibes, flowers, things I like. Like I don't like cats, to be honest, but I like tulips and I like window displays, and this cat was kind of cute, and someone painted this. I picked it up at a thrift store, took it all the way home from Arizona, carried on the plane. Like if I like something, I'm going to be able to figure out a way to make it look very cohesive and still have character and not be cookie cutter. Like you don't have to go buy the same exact ones from Target that already are pre-built for you. If that's your vibe, totally go down for it. But if you want to build a little bit more of a cozy, personalized home, I suggest like don't rush into things and curate things over time, and eventually it'll look so cool. I even would pay attention a lot to like the backs of them, how they're matted, and the actual frames at a thrift store, because they don't do it like they used to. And you can tell my vintage frames like these versus brand new kind of there, which is fine. But I mean, I do like that there's a little bit of texture there because I did add the little dots, but it's not like crafted, you know? So boom. And then we have like my desktop. I don't even think I need to say anything about this. I did get this wheelie rolly chair, which is nice because I'm able to move it around whenever, although the back of it, the bottom of it, done for. So I did buy a little seat pad, which is ugly. I tried to cover it, but you need like the traction here or else it just falls off all day. So I do have that on the bottom that like helps keep it alive for longer, and that's a little tip for the work from home girlies. I then have like a small, it used to be a closet, organizing drawer that I put supplies, crafts, all the things in, and that really is the base of my printer. So that is the home office. Now I wanted to just talk about a little other things that I think I may have forgot or skipped over, but rugs. I will say this rug, it held up for years. This is a high traffic area. As you can imagine, I'm already like hitting it, but I do need to replace it. What I liked about it is that it's more flat and not too fluffy, and it felt like just an extension of the ground where I can just break up the room and be like, this rug on, living space. And then I added this cheetah rug kind of recently, in the last year or so, and I felt like it just broke up the bedroom so that things, even if they're not fully like cut off by a divider, that you do get the differentiation by, you know, the angles of the furniture seating. And here feels like a bedroom. Like if this was a wall, this would make sense. This is how I would have my house too. And if this was a wall, I mean, I'd probably try to center it better, but it feels like a living room. I don't know, to my eye anyway. Another thing I like to do is have a basket of blankets, throw blankets, even if they're not on my couch or whatever, just in case someone's cold. Also, just like making a nice little rolled up basket of cozy blankets. Hello, so welcoming and so homey. Reminds me of like homes back in the day, you know, like at my own family home, we had little baskets of blankets. And so I've always had that in all my houses. I just think it's an important little side thing for a living space. And then the last thing I'll harp on is mirrors. So when you go and visit someone, you want to see your full body outfit. I know this is maybe a personal thing, but I want to know what I'm looking like before I walk out the door. So having plenty of mirrors, if this little corner wasn't so cluttered right now, you would see I have another one. So I have one in my closet, and then that also allows people to be able to get ready and not be in the same mirror. I hate when you go to an Airbnb and there's no mirror space. You're like, hello, we all have to crowd in here now, and there's no reason. There's like 8 beds and 1 mirror. That's ridiculous. So those are just kind of the things that I do. Of course, there's other things like buy flowers, have snacks, make sure there's water, make sure everyone's comfortable, like, but also it's like my mom and my sister, so we'll just go get them if we want them. But thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe because I'm gonna go hop into the closet tour and give tips and tricks of how to tidy small spaces, how I organize literally hundreds, probably thousands of clothes in this little apartment, and also have room for my knickknacks and my trinkets and my cutie patootie things. So subscribe to my channel. My name is Mallory Alita, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you so much. Bye.